In the continuing saga of Roadkill Radio's drive for justice, allow me to put before you our cast of characters. Kari Simpson, once a respected and influential social policy activist, became the target of a hate campaign, first by Rafe Mayer, then by the courts, when she courageously stood up for parental rights in public education and took on the sex activist bullies. Rafe Mayer, serial liar, described by the courts as a shock jock, he despises influential Christians and believes they should be excluded from public life. And to this end, he will lie, deceive, and misinform his audiences. CKNW, the flagship radio station of the Chorus Entertainment empire, was the former employer of Rafe Mayer, and they allowed him to broadcast his lies and hate. Eric Rice, Simpson's first lawyer, at the time of the defamation trial, he was vice president of the Canadian Bar Association, soon to be president. A lawyer subsequently reprimanded by the Court of Appeal for not following the rules of the court in drafting Simpson's pleadings. Dan Burnett, Mayer's puppet lawyer, who willingly parroted the lies and misinformation generated by the lower court and his client. Mr. Burnett is well informed about the judicial misconduct of the trial judge, but he asserts it is old news. Burnett, like other lawyers involved in this matter, appears willing to ignore the duty to uphold the administration of justice. It will be interesting when we get to the show on the Law Society. Leanne Potter, Simpson's second lawyer for the trial. James Chamberlain, a militant sex activist, referred to in this saga as the gay teacher, Chamberlain is a self-admitted liar and a buffoon. He despises Christians and believes that his 5- and 6-year-old students should check their religious beliefs at his classroom door. He is also the same gay teacher who found judicial favor with the Supreme Court of Canada in the Surrey book case. Mary Marvin Konigsberg is a Supreme Court of BC judge, and she was the trial judge in Simpson versus Mayer. At the time of the Simpson trial, she was embroiled in personal lawsuits. Her spouse was being sued for publishing hate and making defamatory statements about prominent Jewish businessmen. Our not-so-good judge was busy protecting her assets by the fraudulent conveyance of her home to frustrate the victor's award. Lubomir Prechulik, Konigsberg Inamorata, also known by numerous other aliases, he is financially supported by his live-in spouse, Justice Mary Marvin Konigsberg. Jewish lawyer Gary Kurtz was the target of the hate and lies published by Justice Konigsberg's spouse. Mr. Kurtz fought the good fight and won until the case came into the BC courts. Then, like Simpson, he found himself in a sea of judicial corruption. Steve Rambam, another plaintiff in a defamation suit against Prechulik. Canadian Human Rights Commission, the federal rights referee, demanded that Prechulik cease spreading his hate and religious bigotry. Donald Brenner, now deceased, but at the time he was Chief Justice of the BC Supreme Court, and he was the judge who assigned himself to preside over matters involving Justice Konigsberg and her Jew-hating spouse, Prechulik. Wally Opal, at the time, was the Attorney General of British Columbia. It seems the Attorney General turned a blind eye to the corruption plaguing the BC courts, for he refused to intervene and refused to advance a complaint to the Canadian Judicial Council on behalf of Kari Simpson. Madam Justice Mary Southern et al., the Justices of the BC Court of Appeal, Madam Justice Prowse, Mr. Justice Thackeray. As this story will reveal, there are some honorable judges. More on them a little later. And now we come to the High Court. Chief Justice Beverly McLaughlin and the 2008 Supreme Court of Canada, also known as the Court Party. In the matters involving our heroine, Mrs. Simpson, McLaughlin CJ sat on the bench that sealed Simpson's fate and blatantly transgressed her rights. That court included all the justices of the Supreme Court of Canada of that day. These justices, some now since resigned, are guilty of judicial treason, for there is no crime more heinous than one committed by those who are duty-bound by oath and office to uphold the rule of law. There are still more players to come, some in supporting roles and others who will become unsuspecting stars, and still others destined to become roadkill on the highway of judicial controversy. Over the course of this saga, you will come to know all these players, some because of their folly, others because of their judicial defilement and willful participation in the obstruction of justice. As you can see, on this drive for justice, we will name names, we will expose evil, we will hold to account those who pervert the rule of law, and we will demand justice. Remember, truth will always make an appearance. Sometimes she just waits for a bigger stage to be built. This is that stage. Please visit driveforjustice.com for more information. And join us next week as Kari Simpson briefs the Prime Minister of Canada about this case, a case that requires, at the very least, a parliamentary inquiry.